Elko Speedway in Minnesota tonight for the ARCA Menards series. And last week at Berlin, a dramatic finish, writing another chapter in the bitter rivalry between the 18 and 20 cars.
Jesse Love is about as hot as you can be as a race car driver.
16-year-old William Sawalich, already 2 wins this year in the East Series.
Jesse Love has led the entire way. He's the control car, and here we go. William Sawalich, what does he have with 2 to go?
Some lap cars in front of Jesse Love.
Jesse Love getting held up by those lap cars, and now Sawalich. He's had his bumper, trying to get underneath the 20 car. William Sawalich off of turn 4. Fire behind the left front of the 20 car. He's led all night long, but it's William Sawalich with a late move on the final lap. The 16-year-old wins.
It was a little bit more dirty than I wanted to, but his last lap.
Been raced by the 18 really dirty, and you know, I'm gonna ballpark him every chance I get.
Welcome to Elko Speedway in Elko, New Market, Minnesota. It's the ARCA Menards series on Fox, race number 7 of the season. The Menards 250 on this 3/8 of a mile oval in Minnesota, our shortest track of the season, and back-to-back short track races. Brent Stover alongside Phil Parsons. 19 cars getting set. They are on the track, ready to do battle, and the weather has cleared up nicely.
It's a gorgeous night. We had a lot of rain here. Rained out the second practice session as well as qualifying.
So William Sawalich gets the pole because he was the fastest in the only practice we had. As we will get you today's starting grid, brought to you by Menards. Across the bottom of your screen, and a look at this track description. I mentioned it's the shortest all season long. 3/8 of a mile is the size of this oval.
Yeah, great racetrack here. You can see the progressive banking from 6 down at the very bottom up to 13 degrees. Straightaways banked at about 6 degrees, and this racetrack opened back in 1965.
And the ARCA Menards series has been racing on the track since 2012. This race will be just under 94 miles.
See, we're going to have 2 race breaks on or near lap 125, which is halfway, and lap 190. Sammy Smith won this race last year, one of 6 wins for him, and Brennan Poole won the first race here back in 2012.
I mentioned William Sawalich, who won last week at Berlin. He is on the pole. The General Tire Pole Award won earlier today in practice by William Sawalich.
Yeah, as you mentioned, because of qualifying being rained out, the ARCA Menards series officials used this practice session, the speeds from this practice session, to determine the lineup. William Sawalich was the fastest car in practice by a good little bit, and that will award him the General Tire Pole Award, and that will be his second this year. He had the pole earlier this year at Phoenix.
So they are off and rolling on these warm-up laps, getting set to do it. 19 cars on the track. And again, we take a look at tonight's starting grid, brought to you by Menards for the Menards 250, scrolling across the bottom of your screen. Well, the ARCA Menards series is brought to you by Menards. Whether you're a beginner, a do-it-yourselfer, or a more experienced contractor, you'll find all the tools, materials, and supplies you need at Menards. Save big money at Menards and all your home improvement needs. That is one heck of a shopping cart.
I want to ride in that shopping cart. I want to do that.
Pretty nice engine on the bottom of that thing, huh?
Looked like a small block Chevy to me.
So getting set to roll off here in that the Menards shopping cart. We will see it early and often throughout the night. That is a beauty.
It sure is. It's a blown small block Chevy.
A lot of horsepower. So Sawalich, the 18 car, and on the front row with him, Jesse Love in the 20, who had reeled off 3 straight, was trying to make it 4 in a row last week, dominated the entire race, but the last 2 laps, Sawalich wins, got that late bump and run. And for more on that, we check in for the first time tonight with a third member of our team on pit road, Heather DeBow. Good evening, Heather.
Well, good evening, Brent and And you mentioned it, the 18 and 20, that rivalry has been building for quite some time now. But I talked to both of those drivers today about that incident and if they thought it was dirty or not. When I talked to William, he said it's completely acceptable to bump somebody out of the way in short track racing. He said it's all about bumping and banging. And when I asked Jesse the same question and told him William's response to me, he said, you know what, I completely agree with that, except I think you need to race the guy first and try to pass him clean before you move him. So both drivers have a similar mentality on short track racing, but they disagree with what happened there at Berlin. And as we already said, they are starting on the front row right next to each other. So we'll see if sparks fly early here between those two drivers.
And it's been going for a long time now, the last several years, the 18 and the 20. In fact, they had a run-in 2 years ago right here at Elko. Ty Gibbs was in the 18, Corey Heim in the 20. Heim dove deep into turn 1 and punted him late in the race. He won the race, and the tension has been building ever since.
Yeah, and that's the world we live in right now. Back in the day when I started, we didn't knock people out of the way. We tried to pass them. But now it seems to be accepted to knock people out of the way. I don't necessarily agree with it, but all the young drivers coming up, and I think a lot of that has to do with maybe the kind of racing they did getting started. Legend cars, it's extremely hard to pass with legend cars. You knock people out of the way, and they carry that mentality in to the big cars like here in the ARCA Menards series.
Well, and talking about William Sawalich coming off his first win in the National Series, he's got a pair of ARCA East wins this season as well, as he starts first here in the Menards 250. And you know, this is a big deal. He's from nearby Eden Prairie, Minnesota, about a 33-minute drive here to Elko. Started his racing career right next door at Little Elko. As you take a look at the onboards, Frankie Muniz will have one of those in his 30 car.
Yeah, that's your General Tire on board for Frankie, doing an outstanding job this year, second in points and very little experience. Obviously behind the camera or in front of the camera he's got a lot of experience, but as far as driving a race car, not so much, doing a fantastic job.
Set to do it here at Elko, the Menards 250, shortest track of the season off turn 4. Green flag is in the air. We are racing. William Sawalich in the 18 on the inside, Jesse Love on the outside, and Love goes immediately to the lead just like he did last week.
Just an awesome run off the top of the racetrack. Again, we talked about the aggressive banking. The more banking, the higher you go, and Jesse Love used that grip to grab that lead.
So Love out in front. Led all but the final 2 laps last week. That 15 car, Sean Hingarani, running 30, finished 3rd last week. Connor Jones racing the 25 this week at 17 years of age. You talk about these young guys that like to bump people out of the way. Back in Phoenix, 2nd race of the season, he knocked a couple of guys out of the way on his way to a finish in that race, and he's driving the 25 tonight.
One of those was his teammate, Jesse Love, along with Jack Wood, who was driving for Rev Racing at the time.
So Connor Jones in the 25. There's Frankie Muniz. 2nd points as the night begins. He's got 3 6th place finishes this season, including last week. Still looking for his first top 5, but he's been very consistent. It's Jesse Love out front working lap number 5. Sawalich in 2nd, Hingarani in 3rd.
We just wonder how long it's going to take for the bad blood to manifest itself here. Now, is William Sawalich just content to ride behind Jesse Love and follow him and log some laps, or is he going to want to be aggressive and grab that lead?
One thing we know about this track and watching last year's race, it's a wide short track. There's a lot of good side-by-side racing, and we'll see that throughout the night.
Sawalich is all over the back of Jesse Love's Toyota. Again, both these drivers driving Toyotas, certainly not teammates.
Far from it. Gibbs Toyota for the 18 and Sawalich, and in the 20. Venturini Racing, and Venturini with 4 cars in the race tonight, had 3 last week. They got the 15, the 20, the 25, and the 55 with Tony Breidinger.
Tony doing double duty this weekend. She actually raced in Nashville last night in the Truck Series, had a great top 20 finish there, and then made the trek up here to Minnesota to run tonight.
17th Breidinger last week, of course, as you documented during the telecast, got the late in the race, was able to get the free pass, and that helped her to that top 20 finish.
Sawalich getting a little bit aggressive. Nice little turn there off the corner. You mentioned this is awfully close to his hometown, only about 30 minutes away. I think he would love to grab that lead for all the family and friends he has here tonight.
Working lap 12. Sawalich trying the inside. Had the late bump and run to win and beat Jesse Love last week and stop Love's 3-race winning streak.
You know, Brett, that's the problem. If you're going to use the bumper and take somebody out like William Sawalich did, well, you got to feel like that you're going to get one back. And that's, as a race car driver, we never talked about it. We never talked about he took me out. We just took care of things on our own.
So what is Jesse's mindset here going into this race after what transpired?
Well, I think he's got to wonder if he's getting ready to get a shot in the bumper to knock him out of the way. But he probably realizes that William is smart enough to not do that now. No sense ruffling any feathers, you know, 15 laps into a 250 lap race.
Sawalich just 16 years of age, Love at 18, and with more on the 20, back down to Heather.
And you talked about his mentality, and I mentioned it at the top of the show, the rivalry building between these guys. But one thing Jesse also mentioned to me is you cannot win races if you don't keep a cool head. So he might not be concerned about racing William very hard here in this race because he wants to win, so he's going to stay out of trouble. But right now, his spotter, Lloyd Garner, on top of the spotter stand is just telling him, protect that entry, cover your entry, as we saw William trying to make a pass on him.
Good stuff, Heather. Jesse Love, two-time ARCA West champ, won it when he was just 15, then won it again when he was 16, and now at 18, doing big things in the National Series here.
Yeah, already a 5-time winner in the ARCA Menards Series, including the 3 races he won this year in a row.
Yeah, Talladega as well as Kansas, then Charlotte.
He's been awfully good at this racetrack as well. The last 2 years, last 2 times we were here, he finished second.
Working lap number 20 of the Menards 250. It's the ARCA Menards Series on Fox with Jesse Love out front, but William Sawalich, his old rival, right there on his bumper. ARCA Racing on Fox is brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards. And by Bounty. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. Under caution here at Elko Speedway in Minnesota. A single car spin, the 06 A.J. Moyer out of Tampa, Florida, has brought out our first caution of the night.
We had to cool off that battle. Jesse Love, William Sawalich have been nose to tail, if not side by side, since the drop of the green flag.
Great racing, kind of picking up right where they left off last week with that dramatic finish in Marne, Michigan. I got to tell you, it has turned into a beautiful night. We saw rain throughout late afternoon and early on in the evening, and then suddenly things cleared up. They had the dryers out there, and now we've got a sunny night as the sun gets set to go down here in Minnesota. Elko, Newmarket, Minnesota, and here is going back to what brought out the caution.
Yeah, right in front of our leaders, you can see Jesse Love right there from William Sawalich's Sioux Chief onboard. A.J. Moyer was the son of a former ARCA Menards champion, Larry Moyer, from back in the early 80s.
Tampa, Florida, in that Toyota. Well, the 18 Sawalich is chomping at the bit to get back in front, and with more on him, here's Heather.
And we saw him put a nose to the 20 there when we were at break, and William being told by his spotter right now, Sean Treadaway, he said, don't worry about it. We don't need to get there that early in this race. You are good enough to beat him. William said, okay, sounds good. Under this caution, he said he's a little bit snug, but we mentioned this is his home track. He lives just about 30 minutes from here, grew up racing legend cars here. So when I talked to him earlier, I asked him, hey, anything from those legend cars going to apply to today? And he said, well, this is a bigger car. It's got a lot more horsepower. He said he would probably still run the same lines that he did in the legend car, but he just might have to diamond the racetrack a little bit more and be a little lower on exits. So he's got a little bit of the upper hand here when it comes to experience at Elko.
Yeah, what he was talking about, diming the racetrack. You'll go in, maybe drift a little higher in the center of the corner, get the car turned. That way you can get it pointed and come off the corner a little bit lower. He was talking about coming off the corner a little bit lower.
Very cool. Said his friend got him into racing, came with a friend in his family when he was very young. It got into his blood, racing next door at Little Elko Speedway. And as she mentioned, just 30 minutes away from Eden Prairie, where he grew up.
Just an outstanding talent. Obviously, Joe Gibbs recognized that. I think this is the first year of a 3-year situation that he's entered into. 2 years in ARCA, and then we'll move to the Xfinity Series full-time when he becomes old enough to do that at 18 years old.
Well, Greg Van Alst got it done at Daytona to kick off the season. Tyler Reif at Phoenix, then Jesse Love, those 3 in a row. And Sawalich with his first career National Series win here in the ARCA Menards Series last week.
A tremendous amount of young talent in this series, but it's really hard not to feel for Greg Van Alst in that big win at Daytona. So emotional in victory lane, talking about that's one for the little guys, and you can dream big and make dreams do come true, and it certainly did for Greg Van Alst at Daytona.
It's been a struggle for him since, and then of course a few weeks back lost his father, Bruce, and we got news last week that they would be cutting down on their races the rest of the way, and that's part of the deal, obviously, at this level.
Yeah, he's going to make his Xfinity debut in a few weeks in Atlanta. He's looking forward to that. He said that will be the next time that he races.
Under our first caution of the night, a spin by the 06 AJ Moyer, getting set to go back under green with Jesse Love on the outside, the control car, and on the inside, the 18 of William Sawalich.
I was a little surprised that Jesse took the outside.
Green flag racing once again here at Elko. And Jesse Love from that outside position right back out in front.
And just like the initial start of the race, he got that lead from the outside on the initial start. Sawalich had the pole. So he used that again. Nice little bite up off the corner for Jesse Love.
Hingorani settles into the 3rd spot once again, and Connor Jones in 4th.
Good battle there back for the 5th spot. Frankie Muniz, that 30 car on the inside. Davey Callahan, the 01 car on the outside.
First ARCA Menards Series race in the career of Davey Callahan, the 33-year-old from Rixieville, Virginia.
He's a regular competitor who caution flag on the racetrack.
Our second caution here after just a couple of green flag laps, and it's the 06 once again bringing it out. And again, that's AJ Moyer. Working lap number 41 here in the Menards 250. Race number 7 of the season, back-to-back weeks. Short track racing in the Midwest. More to come here on Fox. Beautiful night here at Elko Speedway, Elko, New Market, Minnesota. 30 minutes outside of the Twin Cities. Brett Stover, Phil Parsons, Heather DeBow. A couple of cautions, just had our second. Had a spin from AJ Moyer. Bryce Hageberg has issues as well. Today's Bounty Rookie Spotlight is the 32 car Christian Rose, 28 years of age, from Martinsburg, West Virginia. Had a phenomenal collegiate baseball career and now off to a great start in racing.
Yeah, how about the last 3 races, all top 10 finishes? And he's got some big news coming up in a few weeks.
Yep, end of July for AM Racing. Gonna run in the Truck Series at Richmond.
Yeah, nice young man. Had a birthday, I think, was last week?
I believe that's correct. And of course, going back to Daytona, right after they got home from preseason practice for Daytona, he and his wife gave birth to their first child, a son. And so they are enjoying, man, they're enjoying a lot of things in their life right now. He just last year was put in the Hall of Fame, where he played college baseball at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. With more on the 32, here's Heather.
And I talked to his team owner, Kevin Swinzicki, earlier today, and they won a race here in 2018 with Gus Dean. That was the last time that AM Racing won at this track. So they got a little bit of the gang back together. They brought the spotter in, Mark Soronin, and the hauler driver, Craig Frazier, in. And this is Kevin's home track. His shop is only about 6 miles from here. So they're having fun putting that 32 out on the track with their rookie, Christian Rose.
Absolutely. In 8th right now in the 32 car. See him back there in row number 4. Off turn 4, back up to speed. Green flag racing once again here in Elko.
Great start by Jesse that time. He was able to clear Sawalich by the time they got to turn 1. Good side-by-side battle among teammates for third with Higurani in the 15 and Connor Jones in the 25.
And how about Davey Callahan in the 01 making his ARCA Menards Series debut? And he said he felt like they had a top 5 car coming into this weekend.
He's a really good short track racer. He races at Dominion Speedway in Virginia late models. And he's been friends and kind of helps Big Willie Mullins and his wife with this race team, and he's getting an opportunity to drive the car.
Yeah, swept a pair of twin features there at Dominion, as you talked about, and they said, you know what, let's give him a shot in the ARCA car. So here he is tonight. He's been working as part of that crew. He was here, in fact, last year at this race, working as part of Willie Mullins' crew.
Yeah, and Willie had a top 10 finish here last year, second top 10 he's had here at this racetrack.
Willie Mullins, by the way, had a really interesting night. As you see, he runs in 12th right now in the 10 car. We had the onboard camera with him last year, so everything was documented, all the evidence. And when I'm talking about evidence, he knocked 3 different guys out of the way throughout the night. And finally, they had to send him to the back of the field. But he ended up with a top 10, as you said.
Great battle, great pass by Frankie Muniz right there in the 30 car, getting by Callahan. Again, so little of experience. There's no doubt in my mind that Frankie Muniz has the least amount of experience than anybody here at this racetrack, no matter what age they are, and really doing an outstanding job.
37 years of age. Hey, tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, head over to the ARCA Menards Series Twitter and Facebook pages at ARCA_racing to vote on what moment you think was today's sweet move of the race presented by Reese's. Any nominees yet there, Phil? We're pretty early at lap 56.
Yeah, I think the pass that Frankie made just now on the Callahan in the 0-1, I think that would be my early call for one of my favorites, but I think we've got a long way to go here.
Muniz, I mentioned, has finished 6th 3 times this year, and there he is racing in 6th here tonight on lap 57.
Saw Frankie into the corner a little bit wider than Callahan did, but really gave him a nice bite up off the corner. He was able to drive up off the corner a little bit straighter. Saw right in front of him just for a moment the 2 of Andres Perez. What an outstanding job this youngster has done this year. Wasn't old enough to race at Daytona. Turned 18 after the race at Daytona. He's had nothing but top 10 finishes since then and a number of top 5s. Right now he's running in the 5th spot.
Yeah, including 4th at Berlin last Saturday night. Andres Perez in the 2 car there. And there's Mullins in the 10. Trying to make some moves. He's 1 lap down in 12th right now.
He is in the free pass spot. If the caution flag were to come out right now, he would be in position to get that free pass. Good battle here between Christian Rose, our Bonnie rookie spotlight driver, and Tony Breitner. Battling up in the top 10.
You said it to me during the production meeting that we would see really good racing all throughout the night on this 3/8 of a mile oval.
Yeah, I love the progressive banking. The fact that the racetrack is a little bit flatter down low means you can have a little more banking, a little more grip as you move up the racetrack, and that's what allows these drivers to be able to run side by side and make passes on the outside.
Rose running in 8th, Breidinger in the 55. Venturini Motorsports. I mentioned they got 4 cars in the field here tonight.
Tony coming off her best career finish at Berlin last week with a 5th place run. Did a terrific job there.
She moonlights as a model for Victoria's Secret, and as you have touched on throughout the weeks, ran the Truck Series at Kansas, at Gateway, and then Nashville last night. Just coming along really nicely in both series.
Probably the largest lead that we've seen tonight for Jessie Love, about a half a second, a little less than a half a second. But again, a long way to go. We know we're going to get a race break around halfway, around lap 125, so we still have about 60 laps to go before that happens.
Race breaks tonight at 125 and then at 190, and then we'll have a 60 lap sprint to the finish. And that's Willie Mullins, the 10 car who we talked about. Top 10 here last year at Elko, and Heather has more on Willie.
Yeah, and you mentioned it being a lap down. That's because under the first caution he had to pit because he was overheating. But But he does have a special paint scheme on the car today. It's a throwback to his father-in-law, Dutch Van Weingeren. Now, Dutch used to race hobby stocks for about 8 years back in the day, and he's from here in Minnesota, and this is the paint scheme that he used to run. So his daughter told him that, hey, we're going to do this for your birthday. He turns 70 in September, so this is a little special tribute to his dad, just to make sure that he knows just how much the team appreciates him and all of his support.
That is so cool.
I tell you, it shows how good a car he has. He just passed the 32 of Christian Rose. Christian running right now in the 9th spot. So if he can just hang in here before another car gets lapped and gets that free pass, gets back on the lead lap, he's certainly going to be a contender for a top 10.
Throwback to his father-in-law, his dirt track racing in southern Minnesota. Very cool stuff. And of course, his father-in-law, a longtime small business owner, and Willie and his wife Dinah in Fredericksburg, Virginia, have their own small business.
That's a great looking race car for Willie too. See Jesse Love maneuvering his way around our lap traffic. That's what kind of got Jesse Love last week at Berlin. Dominated that race, led every lap. We got to about a lap and a half to go, caught some lap traffic running side by side. That allowed William Sawalich to get to his back bumper. Basically nudged him out of the way and went on to the win.
Sioux Chief on board for Sawalich.
Very little time on the throttle. These straightaways are so short at this 3/8 mile racetrack.
Got a nice rhythm going here once again tonight. It's Love and then Sawalich. Working laps 76 of 250 here at Elko Speedway. Love in the 20 dominated last week, but came up just short late. Dominating so far tonight as well. Race number 7 of the season in the ARCA Menards series from Minnesota.
The top two right there.
What did we just see?
He grabbed some quarter panel and is keeping it really tight.
Ty Gibbs, he'll go all the way down to the bottom of the front straightaway, trying to put the block on Corey Heim. Corey Heim on the back bumper, gets into the back of Ty Gibbs off turn number 1.
Corey Heim, Ty Gibbs waging war at Elko. Oh! Contact between the top two in this race. Oh no! Corey Heim boots Ty Gibbs out of the lead. Ty Gibbs has got to be ticked off. Corey Heim will be a winner in the ARCA Menards series on a short track.
A couple dents in the left rear and the left side door and the left front. That's all from the 18 as well. I think that's pretty much even right there. He's probably mad because he lost like he usually is.
Oh! The leader's wrecked. Drew Dollar gets into the 20 of Corey Heim. They're both wrecked in the infield.
I mean, just typical bonehead move by Drew. Just pure lack of talent. Great kid, does not need to be a race car driver.
In touch, there goes Sammy Smith.
Wow! And Sammy Smith wins the race. Holy Toledo! Jesse Love, he actually takes the window net down. Wow, has to get pulled back.
There was a shot to take it, and I took it.
You know, the 18 wrecked the 20 at Kansas, the 18 wrecked the 20 at Pocono, and then the 18, you know, cleaned both of us out. Got 3 punches to R0.
Sawalich is at his bumper, trying to get underneath the 20 car. William Sawalich off of turn 4 with a late move on the final lap, and William Sawalich, the 16-year-old, wins.
It was a little bit more dirty than I wanted to, but it was last lap.
Been raced by the 18 early dirty, and, you know, I'm going to ballpark him every chance I get.
Oh, this rivalry has been sensational. The 18 and the 20. My favorite is Billy Venturini. Great kid, but doesn't need to be a race car driver.
This just kind of looks like a little bit of a replay of last week at Berlin. Jesse Love dominating the race. He's led every single one of the 97 laps, and now he's opened up almost a 3-second lead over Sawalich. That car is so good right now.
He went the whole way in the lead last week until the second to last lap. Sawalich with a bump and run, and Sawalich getting the win. And caution is out for the 3rd time.
That's going to be a huge break for Andres Perez. He was about to be lapped. He was right in front of our leader, Jesse Love. And it's the third time for the 06 of AJ Moyer. You see his dad's name, Larry, above the door.
3 spins for the 06. Been a rough night. Jesse Love has led all 100 laps of 250 over Sawalich here in Minnesota. Elko Speedway, the ARCA Menards series here on Fox. Jesse Love has been out front since the very start, followed by the 18 William Sawalich in this great rivalry, and then Sean Hingorani in the 15.
David Callahan, the 01, got the free pass, so that will put him back on the lead lap, having a good run for his ARCA Menards debut.
When we take a look at today's Sioux Chief Fast Track driver, William Sawalich in the number 18 Starkey Sound Gear Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. An absolute sensation at the age of 16 from Eden Prairie, 30 minutes away here in Minnesota.
So much talent in this young man. And what the Sioux Chief Fast Track is, it's about people that are on the fast track to bigger and better things. This is a great developmental series for NASCAR, and these are just some of the drivers that have been named to the top 75 drivers in the history of NASCAR, this being the 75th anniversary. And these are the drivers that spent some time in the ARCA Menards series that were named in the last 25. We have 50 drivers named after 50 years. These are among the drivers that were named most recently to the top 75 all-time in NASCAR, and all these drivers spent a little bit of time in the ARCA Menards series.
Yeah, 18 of the most recent 25 cut their teeth in this series. Some of them ARCA champs. Harvick, Busch, Keselowski, Chase Elliott, Ryan Newman, Kyle Larson, many of the big names.
Yeah, kind of a who's who, really. It's Hall of Famers on there, and certainly some future Hall of Famers on that list as well. The big lead that Jesse Love enjoyed is evaporated now with his caution flag. William Sawalich will be right beside Jesse Love on this restart.
Starting tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, vote for tonight's Reese's Sweet Move of the Race on the ARCA Menards Series Twitter page at ARCA_racing for the Sweet Move.
Maybe we'll get one on this restart.
I think we might. I think at some point here, Sawalich is going to win one of these restarts, although Love has been pretty dang good from the outside lane.
He's been spot on these restarts. Remember, just about 17, 18 laps till our scheduled race break. So it's going to be really important for the drivers that are one lap down, and there's 4 of those to be in position to get the free pass. Right now, that group is led by Tony Breitinger.
So Breitinger runs in 7th, just behind the 30-car Muniz. The control car is Jesse Love on the outside. Sawalich on the inside. Green flag racing once again here in Elko.
Good start by Sawalich on the inside. He's going to try to hang in there with Jesse Love.
But it's Love again diving down in front of the 18.
You could watch his hands and see how hard he drove down into turn 3 to get in front of this 18 car.
Working lap number 110, approaching the midpoint on this 3/8 of a mile oval. That restart, by the way, is under review. Let's take a look back.
Remember, Jesse Love on the outside. This is the control car. I don't see anything wrong with that restart. Basically, what the rule is that you have to let the leader of the control car launch first. There's times when the leader will spin the tires, and it looks like maybe you jumped him, but that looked pretty legit to me. Is Sawalich going to try to make the move on the outside?
First time tonight we've seen that from the 18. He's at the bumper of the 20 here.
This is diamonding the racetrack. That's what he was talking about. Heather was telling us about drifting up a little bit higher in the center of the corner to get it pointed and get a good straighter run up off the corner. Try to get underneath Jesse Love.
Taking a look to the outside again. Love has led every lap so far tonight.
Sawalich is there to the inside.
Takes a look, gets to the left rear quarter panel of the 20. But once again, the 20 able to dive down just in front. This is good racing out front.
Well, you think we were racing towards the end of the race, not the first race break.
Reminds me of that Xfinity race today. Lap number 1, they were racing like it was the end.
Yeah, crashing on lap number 1, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sawalich is all over the back of Jesse Love. I think he's got a better car right now. I don't know what happened to Jesse Love. Unless Sawalich just was biding his time, taking his time. Going to try to make this move on the outside for the lead.
Sawalich for the lead on lap 118. Door-to-door racing out front.
A little bit of rubbing, a little bit of a tire mark on the door of that 20 car.
Sawalich looks to the inside. Lap traffic ahead.
What a great battle between a couple teenagers. Good run off the corner for Sawalich. That lap car is going to be in his way, though. There's two pretty evenly matched cars right now. Probably inside of 5 laps till we get the race break. Good battle for third right here. Hingorani in the 15. Connor Jones in the 25.
Couple of youngsters there. Jones just 17. Hingorani only 16, and he bumps Hingorani. Jones, we mentioned Jones is a wild card on the track. Back to the lead, though, on the inside. Sawalich again trying to make the pass on the 20 car.
Sawalich is going to move Jesse Love up the hill to give him room to get by that lap car. Sawalich to the lead.
William Sawalich out front. He gets bumped, though, on a crossover move. How about that? The 20 of Jesse Love. Can he get back in front?
We're not going to wait till the end of the race to start bumping, it doesn't look like.
Phenomenal stuff for the lead on lap 125.
I think this is a very pro Sawalich crowd here in Minnesota.
Yeah. Now Jesse Love putting a little bit of distance.
So the halfway signal.
And there is the race break caution, our 4th of the night. 4th caution, this one scheduled. One of 2 race breaks. We mentioned on or around 125. Comes at 126. Our next one will be at 190.
These drivers and teams will be able to come down pit road. They will have 5 minutes to change tires. They have 6 tires in the pits. More than likely, they will put their 2 tires on now on the right side, save the 4 tires for the lap 190 race break. And they can put fuel in. They just can't do it at the same time. 4 crew members allowed over the wall. What a great battle we had.
For first and then for third as well. Connor Jones got Hingorani sideways a little bit. Good save by the 15 car in that battle for third while the battle for the lead was going on. Let's go back to some of that good racing out front.
You see Sawalich had to move Jesse Love up the hill to be able to get by the Goulet car. Sawalich has a lead here. Now we get down to the corner. A little bit of a bump just to slide Sawalich out of the way. That might be a nominee, I think.
Reese's move of the race perhaps right there. At the midpoint of this one.
Jesse Love using a lot of racetrack. The fans weren't too pleased with that, I don't think.
Very much a pro Sawalich crowd to what you said. Definitely a candidate for Reese's sweet move of the race. So Jesse Love has led 126. Sawalich gets credit for 1 lap led. Race break number 1. 5 minutes to work on the cars. You can change tires and fill it with gas. It's the Menards 250 from Elko, Minnesota. Tomorrow, the USFL playoffs are on Fox, and Birmingham will be rocking as the defending champion Stallions take on the New Orleans Breakers in the Southern Division Championship game. It all kicks off at 7 Eastern on Fox. Under caution, our first race break of the night. Packed house, good crowd. The weather has cleared up nicely. The Menards 250 from Elko Speedway. Our shortest track of the season. The cars are on pit road getting service done as we check in with Heather.
And checking in now with Jesse Love. As you can see here on the front of that number 20 machine, they had to fix some damage from where he moved the 18 out of the way. Now, his spotter came over the radio right after that happened when we went under caution for this break, and Lloyd said to him, "We are not taking any crap today." Also, Shannon Rush, when he talked to Jesse about how his car is handling, Jesse said, "My biggest thing is that I couldn't get into the corner with any kind of speed." So Shannon told him, "Hey, I got an adjustment for that in my back pocket." And also that team frustrated over the radio. But if we go to the second place driver in the 18 of William Sawalich, those guys also really frustrated under that break. We saw some really hard racing from both of those drivers in the 20 and 18. They wanted to check and see if there was any nose damage on the 18 as well, but he said that entry to center was good, but he needed a little help for his loose off condition, so his crew chief Matt Ross went to work on that for them. They changed the right sides, jacked up the left side and left rear, and did a shock adjustment. So both those drivers needing a little bit of help on handling, but they're also going to need a little bit of help remaining calm as they battle it out here in this next run.
Can't promise that's going to happen.
Exactly.
Thanks, Heather. Saw it last week. We've seen it for the last several years between the 18 and the 20 cars. Gibbs against Venturini.
They could be different drivers. We've had several different drivers in both vehicles.
Drew Dollar, obviously Ty Gibbs has been part of it. Corey Heim as well, now in the Truck Series. Fourth caution of the night. The Menards 250 goes back to green when we return. Welcome back to Elko Speedway in Elko, New Market, Minnesota. The Menards 250. Race number 7 of the 2023 season in the ARCA Menards Series on Fox. Just past the midpoint, Brent Stover alongside Phil Parsons. Heather DeBow is on pit road. And what a night it's turned out to be. A beautiful sunny night after rain throughout much of the afternoon and early evening.
And what a barn burner of a race we've had too.
Time now for our mid-race report, brought to you by Richmond Water Heaters. And you look at 2 leaders, but only 1 lap led so far for Sawalich, even though he was working hard to try to make a lot of passes towards the end of that first segment.
Had a little bumping and banging there towards the end of the first segment prior to the race break, and have a feeling we may see some more of that. We've seen, as you mentioned, we've seen it for the last 2 or 3 years anyway.
4 cautions, the last one scheduled. At lap 126, a race break. We'll get another one at 190, so it'll be a short segment coming up here, and then a sprint to the finish.
Remember, the last restart was under review. I thought Sawalich got a really good restart, and I think the ARCA officials felt so as well, because they obviously did not make a call to see what he can do this time.
The 20 chooses the inside this time. Jesse Love with Sawalich on the outside. Out to green. Beating and banging. Yeah, you got it. Rubbing paint here on lap 134 on the restart.
Another great restart by Sawalich. Is he going to grab the lead from the outside, just like Jesse Love did early on?
Sawalich out front on the outside, trying to pin it down to the bottom and get out in front of the 20.
Jesse Love's right there. Sawalich not able to close the door at this point.
Taking over where they left off at the end of the first segment. Love on the inside. Sawalich on the outside.
And yes, we have 115 laps to go.
It's been amazing.
We knew coming into this race that these two were going to battle. They battled the entire race at Berlin last week. and they have not disappointed.
Jesse Love was none too pleased after dominating the entire way and then losing in the final 2 laps. He thought it was dirty racing. Sawalich admitted it might have been a little bit dirty. We kind of saw the writing on the wall that it'd be pretty dang good this week after those post-race interviews.
I'll tell you right now, they have settled down. They're giving each other a lot of room right now. We've seen a little bit of the beating and banging, but right now they're giving each other some room. Good racing right here. This is how it's supposed to be done.
That's right. Sawalich does finally close the door here and get to the bottom. And William Sawalich back out front for the 2nd time this evening.
Remember, that race break gave these guys an opportunity to make some adjustments. The crew chiefs made some adjustments. We heard Heather talking about Shannon Rush making some adjustments for Jesse Love. And right now it almost looks like it may have gone the wrong direction. Sawalich is showing a little strength and driving away from Jesse Love.
Here's Sean Hingorani. He's part of the party here in the 15.
Yeah, this is as close as he's been able to stay up with Jesse Love, his teammate.
Hingorani with 2 wins in the ARCA West Series this year. He was 3rd at Berlin last week, his first top 5 of the season in the National Series.
Remember, these teams only put 2 right side tires on. They're saving 4 in the pits for that next race break. Sometimes the 2 tires maybe not agree with the setup in these cars as the caution flag is out.
5th caution of the night, lap 143. It's Christian Rose in the 32. Our bounty rookie spotlight was on Rose, the 28-year-old from West Virginia, and he spins out here.
Trying to get it refired right now. He's being shown in the 10th position, 2 laps down. I think Tony Cosentino will get the free pass. He's running in the 8th spot. Tony didn't even get to practice today. Started at the back of the field and has made his way up into the top 10.
Cosentino barely got to practice last week. Remember all the issues his team had with their team truck just getting across the country and getting to the Speedway. So Christian Rose in the 32's got it fired. Back running here. He's been running in the top 10 throughout the night. Scored 11th.
That's a beautiful car right there now. Hingorani really showing some strength now. He's been really strong right now on the West Coast in the ARCA Menards West Series. Again, same rules that we have here. 2 wins already. This is Irwindale Speedway. What a great racetrack out in Irwindale, California. He gets the Venturinis their first West Series win out there, and he does some pull-ups on the fence. I don't know if his crew guys are able to do that or not. That's Billy right there. And then he goes to Kern County in Bakersfield, California, racing one of Bill McAnally's cars, one of the Reif brothers, and gets that 2nd win and climbs the fence again. So 2 wins, 2nd points right now for Hingorani in the West.
And Heather can add on to that. Heather?
Absolutely, and I checked in with his crew chief, who was his crew chief for that win at Kern County, and that's Monin Rahman. Under that break, he said he was just a little bit tight, but they made a right front adjustment, so they think they're going to be better, and that has been confirmed because Billy Venturini is spotting for Sean tonight, and he asked him, hey, how's the car driving? Is it better? And Sean came over the radio and said, absolutely, and Billy told him, hey, I really actually like the way that car looks. It looks way better than it did in that first run, so they are happy with that 15 right now, but I've been listening to Billy Venturini this entire race spot for him, and he's really been helping him, telling him not to overdrive the car, stay disciplined. That's how you make up time. Don't rush to the gas. So Sean really learning right here, and hey, if he keeps this up, tonight could maybe be his first ARCA Menards Series win.
No question about it. You mentioned a couple of wins already this year, but not in the National Series. You know, I thought it was impressive, too, when he got 6th 2 weeks ago at Sonoma. Obviously, he's a young guy, just 16, learning to run the road courses, and there was some Cup guys in that race as well.
Yeah, strong field of cars out in Sonoma for the ARCA Menards West. And we caught a glimpse a while ago of Big Bill Venturini, Billy's dad, the patriarch of the team, the champion of the ARCA Series back, I think, 1980. That's Billy on the very right-hand side in that gray shirt, 2nd from the right, standing up there next to the fellow in the black outfit. That's Billy right there. Billy was a driver himself. He was a winner here in the ARCA Menards Series and decided to hang up the helmet and start crew chiefing and owning, and it's really been a nice combination. A lot of wins in their career for Venturini Motorsports.
Of course, his mom, Kathy, listed as the team owner for the 25 car tonight. Certainly a family affair.
At one time, Billy's dad, had an all-female pit crew. Kathy being one of the pit crew members. Did tire changing, they fueling, everything. Sawalich is the control car now.
Chooses the outside. So the 18 is in the lead. The 20 car on the inside looking to get it back.
Look at all the damage. Look at all the damage. They're beating and banging on the caution here.
Would you expect anything less? Back to green here in Minnesota.
I wouldn't be surprised if look at Jesse Love use up William Sawalich.
Sends him out near the wall, and Jesse Love back in front. And now Sawalich gets spun by the 15 of Hingorani. And Hingorani, in his post-race interview last week, had some disparaging things to say about Sawalich, and this week it's Hingorani that spins Sawalich out.
They raced together back at Flat Rock, Michigan in an East race not long ago, and Hingorani was talking about the way the 18 drove him. But look at the damage on the left front. That's from the caution flag riding along with Jesse Love. I did not see that coming.
So Hingorani punts the 18 here.
Good news for Sawalich. Just take another look at it. See, he was the 15 of Hingorani was there. I don't think Sawalich realized that Hingorani was there. He was more concerned with getting to the back bumper, I think, of the 20 of Jesse Love. Hingorani was there, and around he went.
So that's Sawalich's mistake there, trying to come down. Hingorani kept his line on the inside, and Sawalich suffering the consequences.
We're not done with the bumping, I don't think, Brent. We have almost 100 laps to go. We only have 8 cars on the lead lap, so Sawalich is not going to be that far behind these Venturini cars, the 15 of Hingorani and the 20 of Jesse Love.
We talk often about the learning curve with all these young guys, and I asked you last week, after the first 5 races were all on Cup tracks, you had a couple of 1.5 miles, a couple of super speedways, and finally the first short track last week. Well, now they got that under their belt, back-to-back short tracks, guys feeling more comfortable. Here's Heather.
And the 18 on pit road right now. He came on the radio after that incident and just said, really? And he said the car doesn't feel right. He said something might be up with it. So they brought it down pit road right now just to check it out. As you can see, the general tires are, markings on the tires are completely rubbed off. They did put some air bond on that left rear quarter panel where some of the damage was, but so far it seems like everything's okay. I see his crew chief Matt Ross here talking it over with the team, and everybody seems to be all right with the way it looked right now, so we'll keep an eye on that.
He knows he has about 20 laps till we get to our next race break. He's going to restart in the 9th position, it looks like. I think we had another free pass car, maybe Davey Callahan moved up into the 8th spot. So Sawalich would love to get maybe back into the top 5 by the time we get to that next race break, because he doesn't want to get too far behind the 20 and the 15, I don't think. And if I'm Connor Jones in the 25, I'm going to say, hey, I was not a part of that. I know I'm driving for the same team, but I was not a part of that. You leave me alone.
So Jones here is listed in 2nd, Hingorani in 3rd. The 15, we are finding out, has been warned by ARCA.
I'm sure for rough driving or whatever, but I really think I think it was pretty innocent on the 15's part. The 15 was trying to go down the inside, trying to get by the 18 of Sawalich. Sawalich turned left, not realizing, I don't think, that Hingorani was there. So I know, fortunately, it was just a warning, and they didn't black flag and were moving towards the back of the pack. I'm not sure that would have been justified.
So warning of the 15 for rough driving here. And clearly Sawalich was displeased, but boy, as you said on the replay, it felt like the 15 was pretty innocent in that collision.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's hard to predict what the cars in front of you are going to do, but
it all worked out nicely for the 25.
Yes, it did.
Sawalich hasn't been this far back in quite a while. He's in 8th right now. Outside of row number 4, back to green here with Jesse Love out front. Connor Jones in second place. And the 2-car, Perez, making a move for second on the outside.
Nice move by Perez on the outside. He's on the verge of getting lapped early in the race before the first race break. Obviously made some good changes to that car. Right now running third, trying to grab second from Connor Jones.
Higurani in fourth. Connor Jones just 17 years of age. Back in that 25 car here tonight. It was Breidinger in the 25 last week. She's in the 55 this week.
Yeah, Sawalich right now is hung in behind the side-by-side battle right in front of him between Frankie Muniz and Tony Breidinger.
Connor Jones with 7 career ARCA Menards Series starts from Fredericksburg, Virginia. Same town that Willie Mullins and his wife Dinah are from.
Connor also runs a handful of truck races for Tricon Garage. The Toyotas from David Gillen and his group.
And at times he's been a little bit rough. We said early on in race number 2 of the season in Phoenix, ran over a couple of cars, including his teammate in that race. So good for him to get laps back out there tonight and remaining calm here. 5, 6, 7, 8 right there. Breidinger, Muniz, Cosentino, and Sawalich.
Yes, Sawalich right now would love for these cars to get single files. Oh, Frankie Muniz squeezes Sawalich into the outside wall.
The 45 of Cosentino got sideways. Good save by him.
That may have done some damage to Sawalich's car. He'll have to feel it out for a couple laps.
It's such a cliche, but that can happen when you get deep in the field like that, and Sawalich is not used to that. Started first after having the best speed in our 1 practice before the rain this afternoon. He's back in 8th right now.
About 10 laps away from our race break. Wanted to see if it maybe moved the, almost looks like it moved the rear end over a little bit. You can see the damage to the right rear quarter panel. Let's take another look. He pulls to the outside of the 30 of Muniz. Frankie just moves up the racetrack and squeezes him into the outside wall. Cosentino does a great job avoiding Sawalich in the 45 car.
Damage to the 18 as he runs now in 7th.
He's able to get by the Cosentino car. Now he's trying to move in on the 30 of Frankie Muniz. Frankie's running in the 6th spot. Certainly no intent there by Frankie Muniz to put Sawalich in the wall, and I hope he realizes that.
Sawalich looks like a man on a mission. I'd love to know what's going on inside of the helmet of the driver of the 18 right now.
Yeah, I think right now if Frankie's smart, he's going to give him plenty of room. He knows he has an extremely fast car. Frankie doing a nice job again as usual. A consistent top 10 performer. Sawalich is going to make his way to the inside of Frankie to grab that 6th spot. He's getting close to the goal that I set for him to try to get back to the top 5 before the race break.
And that will come on or around lap 190.
Yeah, 20 laps away.
Muniz now in 7th. 5 top 10s for Frankie this year as a 37-year-old rookie. 3 times he's placed 6th.
There's a General Tire on board from Frankie Muniz. Really doing a nice job managing that throttle. Listen to him just feed a little bit of that throttle, get that car turned, get it halfway straight, and push that throttle pedal on down.
Second in points when the night began for the 30 car.
They're really impressive all year long. Only one finish, as you mentioned, outside the top 10, and that was an 11th at Daytona. Heather, what's going on with Frankie Muniz?
Well, every track that Frankie's been to this year is different, and he told me today that this track has even more quirks than other racetracks. So they brought in a ringer, if you will, to help him out. His crew chief, Mark Brett, brought in Danny Fredrickson, whose family actually used to own this racetrack back in the day, but he's also a late model champion here. He's a 2-time Midwest Tour champion. So he was working with Frankie during that 20-minute practice on ways to get around this track, how to pass people. So Frankie really leaned on him a lot for that knowledge, and we saw him putting it to use here in this race. Maybe not in the way that he should have with the 18, but like we said, he's learning, and his goal is to get a top 5 finish this season, and he really feels like at this point in the season, he should be able to do that here tonight.
Yeah, I think he's going to get a number of top 5s before this season ends. Doing an outstanding job.
Spin in turn 3, our 7th caution, and again it's Rose for the 2nd time.
Rose is being shown in the 11th spot. It's going to cost him another lap. He will be 3 laps down now.
Coming off a career best 7th at Berlin last weekend. A tough night here for the 32.
It's a great opportunity for Sawalich to get back in contact with the cars that he's racing, the lead lap cars that he's racing. Remember, in the ARCA Menards series, only the leader can choose inside or outside. There is no choose rule in the ARCA Menards series like we do in the 3 NASCAR series.
Working lap 180 of 250 here in Minnesota tonight. Elko Speedway with the 20 car out front. Welcome back, set to drop the green flag again here. The Menards 250 in Minnesota. Love out front, Connor Jones in 2nd.
Watch the black car, Sawalich on the outside, moving to the outside of Higurani.
Never mind.
Great battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Andres Perez, the 2 on the outside. That's Sawalich right behind Perez. Looks like Sawalich clears Higurani for the moment.
Beating and banging with Sawalich and Higurani there on that last lap. No love lost between those 2 guys either. It's love out front in the clean air. Connor Jones, Perez, and then Sawalich trying to make his way through the field here in the 18.
Sawalich is going to try to make the outside work, try to get on the outside of Perez. He's just about there. He's going to pull up beside him here in the center of the corner. So Perez knows he's there.
Sawalich has made that 2nd groove work really nice here over the back half of this race.
Perez really sideways and lets Sawalich get away, and Higurani get to the inside of Perez.
You said that Sawalich needed to get back in the top 5 by the 2nd race break, and he's in 3rd now.
Yeah, an outstanding job. Really uses that restart to gain some spots. How about Frankie Muniz trying to get underneath Perez?
Muniz in the 30, trying to get his nose in there and get into the top 5. He's never had a top 5 finish on board with Muniz in the General Tire on board.
Just a couple laps away from the race break.
Trying to get around Perez in the 2 car, and here comes the 8th caution. Our 2nd and final race break of the night.
That means with Sawalich getting to 3rd that he will restart in the 2nd row, on the inside of the 2nd row. Obviously Jesse Love may choose the outside, but Sawalich will be able to see him from where he is.
And he's going to have Higurani on his outside. And Higurani bumped him and spun him earlier in the race. Although you could make the argument it was Sawalich coming down.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
In any case, the rivalry between the 18 and 20 that we sold coming on the air tonight has once again lived up to the billing, but again, that 20 car has help on and off the track in the 15 of Higurani.
Just wanted to mention, this is Bryce Hogberg in the 11 car. His normal spotter, Dan Schaffer's wife, Angie, passed away, unfortunately, after a long illness. And all of us at ARCA and Fox certainly want to say that we're thinking of Dan and his family, and our prayers are with him.
We're in a race break here at Elko on a beautiful night for racing in Minnesota. We'll cover these pit stops after the break. ARCA Racing on Fox is brought to you by General Tire. General Tire delivers the freedom to explore. And by Reese's. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Reese's, not sorry. Off in the distance, about 30 miles away from the Twin Cities, we are in Elko, New Market, Minnesota. The Menards 250. Under caution, a race break, our second scheduled race break of the night. And on pit road, once again, Heather DeBow.
And as you see right here, we're working on the 18 of William Sawalich. He's been pretty quiet over the radio as he's worked his way up to third, but that team really checking to see if there's any major damage to the car. Before they change the tires, they check the toe. And as you can see here, if you look at the tire that came off the left side, you can see that the General tire has been completely rubbed off the side. Almost all 4 tires looked that way from the incidents that he was involved in, not only with the 20 earlier in the race and then the 30 of Frankie Muniz. So that's what they're working on the 18. He said as far as handling goes, he needs a little help rotating in the center and a little more help with drive off, but we'll move down pit road to the 2 of Andres Perez. As far as his car is handling, he said he's just a little bit tight, so they worked on an air pressure adjustment and the track bar. I checked in with his crew chief, Jamie Jones, and he said he's doing a really good job, and I hope that I'm talking to you later, but right before this caution happened, there was a little bit of an incident there with the 15, so they were reminding him, hey, we will get him back. Just stay patient. Do not tear up the race car. It is a long race. And when I talked to Andres earlier, he actually told me that his goal was to stay patient at the beginning, reduce mistakes, and be there at the end. So right now he needs to take his own advice.
Good stuff, Heather. One thing about drivers, they have good memories.
Yeah, long memories too.
Yes.
Yeah. That's when we were talking earlier about these drivers that get in these situations, beating and banging or whatever. You know, you never forget as a driver when you feel like it's done intentionally.
Yeah.
Someone knocks you out or turns you around, whatever the case may be. If it's an accident, hey, so be it. That's racing. But a driver knows.
I was listening to the Dale Jr. podcast from yesterday. He was talking about 1996. He was remembering he didn't say the name, but how someone got him and he still hasn't forgiven.
Oh, you don't ever forget.
27 years ago.
You know, we talk about this series, the ARCA Menards series, being a great developmental series for NASCAR, and as the people move on. But we had a race here just back in 2019, and take a look at these are the top 6 finishers. Chandler Smith, who has already won an Xfinity race this year. Ty Gibbs, who's won the Xfinity Championship, now running in the Cup Series. Sam Mayer, who runs in the Xfinity Series for Dale Jr. Michael Self, who was an ARCA Menards champion, no longer races. Corey Heim, who's leading the points in the Truck Series and already a winner this year. And Carson Hocevar, who won his 2nd race last night at Nashville. And those were the top 6 finishers from the 2019 race here at Elko.
Pretty amazing.
Certainly is.
This has developed some of the great NASCAR drivers of all time, this ARCA series. Speaking of another Sioux Chief fast track driver, Sammy Smith, and we talk about all the success he had at this level and the success he's had since. Still just 19 years of age. Sammy Smith, the East champ in 2021 and 2022. 15 career ARCA Series wins and 1 win so far at the Xfinity level.
Yeah, he won at Phoenix earlier this year. Made a handful of starts in the Xfinity Series last year. Really had a nice few races. Finished 3rd at Watkins Glen, I remember. And he won 6 of 16 starts here in the ARCA Menards Series last year. How about the top 4 in points? All moved on. Top 3 all moved on to the Truck Series. Nick Sanchez made his way up above the cut line in the playoffs. Raja Carruth had an extremely fast truck, had just taken the lead when he had a fuel pump issue. Daniel Dye's getting better every week, and Sammy Smith, as we talked about in the Xfinity Series.
Sioux Chief fast track drivers. Talk about Sanchez with the top 5 last night. We showed Heim. He was in the top 5 last night as well.
A lot of history here in the ARCA Menards Series. Started back in 1953.
tell you, Gibbs had a bit of an up and down day today. Obviously, Sammy Smith and Ty Gibbs got punted in their races, so they'd love to see Sawalich get something done. He got spun out in this race, but after falling back to 8th, has worked his way back into 3rd place.
Heather told us a few minutes ago that the talk on the 18 radio, even though he was roughed up a little bit by the 20 of Jesse Love, the plan is to race him clean till the end.
Connor Jones on the inside, the 25, but the control car on the outside. The 20 of Jesse Love. Green flag back in the air in the Menards 250. And Connor Jones holds that bottom. Door to door until off the turn. Jesse Love able to nose out in front.
Nice run up off the top for Jesse Love. Look at Sawalich down on the inside now. Got by Higurani going after Connor Jones for the 2nd spot.
William Sawalich got moved back to 8th, all the way back to 3rd, and fighting his way to get into 2nd. He got sideways there.
I think he had a little help from Higurani.
From Higurani for the 2nd time tonight.
Caution flag is out.
Our 9th of the night with 51 laps to go.
Oh, looks like pretty hard contact for Frankie Muniz.
And he had worked his way into the top 5. A lot of smoke coming there. You see through our General Tire on board, the 30 car.
It'll be the first race this year that Frankie has not been able to finish. Looks like it's pretty significant contact. I don't see any marks on the left side of the car.
See that left front tire, though.
Yeah, it looks like it's flat. Although they run them so low of air until just not long after the restart, too. So,
you know, he had been hunting so hard for a top 5, and he had gotten into 5th, and you see fluid leaking from the 30 car.
Just keep an eye on it here. Oh.
That's a hard hit.
Hard hit. That looked like that was Callahan that hooked him. You know, Frankie could have moved up the racetrack a little bit. Going to watch from this onboard right here. You see him get hooked in the left rear. Excuse me, the right rear. And it was significant contact with the outside wall. Remember, on this shorter track, no safer barrier here at Elko.
That was a hard hit.
Sure was. Good to see Frankie get out. Looks like he's getting out fairly gingerly. Looks like he's trying to get his air conditioner probably unplugged.
37 years of age from Scottsdale, Arizona. Reskills Ford had finally made it into the top 5. So Frankie Muniz is out of his car. And caution on the Speedway for the 9th time here tonight in the Menards 250 from Elko Speedway with Jesse Love in front. Sunday on Fox, it's the finals of the Summit Racing Equipment NHRA Nationals from Norwalk, Ohio. It all starts 4 p.m. Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
Justin Ashley is a top qualifier for Top Fuel, and our buddy Ron Capps is the top qualifier for Funny Car.
Can't wait. 4 Eastern coming up tomorrow on Fox. A great weekend of racing so far. You had the truck race with a really good finish last night. The Menards Series tonight in Minnesota.
Go in just over 40 laps to go on this one, and they go by quick here.
Three-eighths of a mile, shortest track on the schedule. Connor Jones on the inside, but the leader, the control car, the 20 on the outside is Jesse Love. Has led most of the night. William Sawalich will be a factor on the inside of row 2. Higurani on the outside of him. Bumped and banged a few times here tonight. Green flag back in the air. Jesse Love pulls out in front once again.
Great restart again by Jesse Love. Able to clear Connor Jones. Now Higurani side by side with Connor Jones.
And Sawalich falls back to fourth. Jones in the 25. Higurani in the 15 on the outside, trying to get to second.
Sawalich is saying, you guys figure it out. I need a little bit of room. Nice move by Higurani on the outside, but Connor Jones fights back.
16-year-old Higurani, the 17-year-old Connor Jones. 40 laps to go here at Elko.
Jones drove it hard in the corner, slid up a little bit into Higurani down in the other end of the racetrack.
Interesting to see what Sawalich does there, peeking on the outside the 18. He's going to pull up beside the 25. Higurani into second, and now Sawalich wants third from Connor Jones.
They finally got single file, so Sawalich was able to make the move to the outside of Connor Jones. Now he's way up the racetrack as Connor Jones moves him up to get by the Goulet car.
37 to go.
Good move down on the bottom. Sawalich is there.
Dives underneath the 25, trying to get to third. Door to door, bumping and banging the 18 and the 25 with 36 to go.
Perez is right there. Say another lap car. Sawalich is going to move Jones up the hill to not get pinned in behind that lap car.
Side by side racing. Jones and Sawalich.
Jones is doing a really nice job staying with Sawalich on the outside. Sawalich just looking for that. He needs about 6 more feet, and he's got him cleared.
Got him cleared, but up on his bumper is Jones, and now he slides underneath or tries to do so, but Sawalich used that lap car as a pick, and he makes the pass into third.
Oh, I think Sawalich says, I need to drive away from this guy. I'm getting hit by too many Venturini cars.
Yeah. He's in a hornet's nest all around him with the 20, 15, and the 25.
These guys are aggressive. Higurani's going to be next, but only 31 laps to go. Sawalich is running out of time.
Jones did his part to make it about as difficult as possible to hold him up. 30 laps to go. So 20 car out front, Jesse Love.
He's opened up over a second lead on Higurani. With Sawalich about a half second there, about 3-4 car lengths behind the 15 of Higurani.
Sawalich now hunting that 15 car. There's Love out front with 29 laps remaining.
Remember Berlin last week, the lap cars slowed down Jesse Love enough for Sawalich to get to him.
And you thought maybe he got a little bit tentative, right, with that?
I thought maybe Jesse Love was, and I think he thought he had a little bit bigger lead than he did. He felt like he had at least 10 car lengths. Jesse Love was the quickest car on the racetrack that last lap. Sawalich was the lap before. He has caught Higurani now. If he's going to do anything with Jesse Love, he cannot spend a whole lot of time getting around the 15 of Higurani.
It took him a few laps to get around the 25. The other Venturini car made that pass finally, and now he's working on the 15.
Got a lap car, Grace Hogberg for the 11. Needs some clean racetrack to try to maybe get that nose underneath Higurani coming up off the corner. Get that thing turned right here and get back in the throttle. Not quite able to do it that time. He sees he's in the same straightaway as the 20 of Love.
23 laps to go. This is the battle for second. Higurani in the 15. Sawalich in the 18.
I think right now, barring another caution flag, if Sawalich is going to contend for the win, he's going to have to move the 15 of Higuerani out of the way.
See the points across the top. Love leads. Muniz, who just wrecked out, is in second, then Perez, and here's Heather down below.
And in listening to the communication between the 15 and the 18, for Sean Higuerani, they told him, hey, be prepared to get the bumper if he does return the favor here. And then for the 18 of William Sawalich, they told him, hey, there's less than 25 laps to go. We gotta go. You can't mess around with the 15 if we're going to catch the 20, as we see him make the pass here on Sean Higuerani.
Sawalich does indeed make the pass, Heather, and he's into second. It didn't come without some contact from both.
I think he's fast enough now to get away from the 15 Higuerani. I'm sure Higuerani was probably going to try to move him back out of the way, but he's not going to be able to catch him right now. But it cost Sawalich probably a second of lap time to Jesse Love. Here's the replay. Sawalich gets down to the inside, makes just a little bit of contact. He had his nose there. Higuerani came down the racetrack. They touch again. As they get down in the corner, Higuerani's going to lean on him, and then Sawalich is able to score it out ahead.
Was that a Reese's sweet move of the race?
I think it was on that pass by Sawalich.
Right side of his car came off the ground briefly, the 18 there on that pass. Getting to the left rear quarter panel of the 15. So now Sawalich has his eyes set on the lead. Jesse Love, the 20 car, who's got a more than 2-second lead, though, with 16 to go.
Remember, we thought last week in Berlin he had an insurmountable lead, that Sawalich wasn't going to be able to catch him, and he got to him with a lap and a half to go.
15 to go here in the Menards 250 from Elko Speedway in Elko, Newmarket, Minnesota.
See the lap cars that Jesse Love's trying to make his way around. It all depends on when you catch these lap cars. If you catch them in the right spot. Sawalich now was close to about 2 seconds behind.
He's gaining. Last lap was 88 miles per hour.
Very close, within 100th of a second is the same lap time as Jesse Love. I think, Jesse Love going to catch Christian Rose, have to pass him on the outside, but the same thing happens to Sawalich with a lap car.
Now Sawalich has got to get around the 10. Willie Mullins. There's Love out front with 12 laps remaining.
Willie Mullins is going to move up the racetrack and give Sawalich the bottom.
Now,
that'll help.
He's got to get around the 32 of Rose.
If you catch him on exit and not impede his progress any, that will certainly help.
Lead down to 1.68. You wonder if there's enough time, though, to catch the 20.
Sawalich getting now to Christian Rose. About a second, 3/4 behind right now. Inside of 10 to go. See, Christian Rose moves out of the way. Nice move by Christian Rose to get out of Sawalich's way.
Eight to go with an update on the 20. Here's Heather.
And right now the team telling Jesse, do not waste any time here. We cannot lose time to anyone, as we see William Sawalich trying to catch him right now. And one of the things he said in his post-race interview after Berlin was that he wasted too much time saving his stuff, and he really needed to dig a deeper hole and a deeper lead and work around lap traffic better. So I bet that's in Jesse's mind right now as it's coming down to 5 to go.
Goes around the 45 of Cosentino.
It's going to be hard for Sawalich unless Jesse really gets hung up behind a lap car for him to make up this gap. But he's trying.
4 to go here at Elko. Last week, the 20 car dominated all night long. With 2 laps to go, the 18 caught him, bumped him out of the way, and won the race. Stopping a 3-race winning streak for the 20 car Jesse Love. And now Love trying to get back on the winning track.
Just a second and a quarter. Sawalich is coming. Right now, Jesse Love says, I think I can hold him off, but please no caution flags.
Sawalich trying to run him down. White flag, final lap of the race. Jesse Love in the 20. Jesse Love takes the checkered flag and wins the Menards 250 here at Elko Speedway. 4th win of the season, and 4 of the last top 5 go to the 20 car of Jesse Love.
Southern crew chief Shannon Rush celebrating as well he should.
It was Sawalich last week with the dramatic late pass. Love did not let him get there this week. And Jesse Love gets it done in Menards 250 here in Minnesota this evening for Venturini Motorsports. Victory lap for the 20. Back to Minnesota as we wrap up the 7th race on the ARCA Menards schedule. Jesse Love will be in winner's circle when we come back. Jesse Love in victory lane. That's where he's headed next as he waves the flag and gets the win here at Elko in the Menards 250. His 4th win in the last 5 races for the 18-year-old from Redwood City, California, racing for Venturini Motorsports. Today's nominees for the Reese's Sweet Move of the race. Sweet move number 1.
Great battle right here between Sawalich in the 18 and our eventual winner Jesse Love in the 20. Right now, Sawalich gets the advantage, and then Jesse Love bumps him back out of the way. Jesse Love holds on to the lead.
So that Reese's Sweet move number 1. How about number 2?
Going to be a little bit of contact. The 30 of Frankie Muniz runs the 18 into the wall, but Tony Cosentino in the 45 makes a nice move to avoid Sawalich as he bounces off the wall.
Nice little save to straighten it out for the 45. And number 3.
William Sawalich going for 2nd. Sean Higurani in the 15. He's trying to chase down Jesse Love. They make a little bit of contact. They rub all the way down the backstretch. Sawalich looks like he's going to climb over the top of the 15, but he makes a pass for 2nd, and that's your 3rd nominee for the Reese's Sweet Move.
To vote on which moment is the sweetest, head to @ARCA_Racing's Twitter and Facebook pages, 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. Fans filing out at ARCA. The Menards 250 is in the books. To victory lane, Heather is with the winner.
We got to get close, yeah.
And Jesse Love, a very happy driver here to get win number 4 on the season. And we just looked at the Reese's Sweet moves of the race, and Jesse said, I know which one it is, so take us through it. Which move do you think should get the sweet move tonight?
Right there on the pit box. You couldn't see it, but, man, we unloaded today, and, like, we know when we're getting beat, and we were getting beat pretty bad, and then Shannon just went to work and fixed the entry, or no, fixed center first. And then first break, we fix the entry. And then the next break, we fix the exit. Like, just, I mean, you can't pay a guy enough to do that. So hats off to him. First off, one thing, the good Lord above, for all that he does for me in my life and continues to, and everybody else, so we get to race in a free country and live the dream. So, man, you know, last week we won one, or we lost one that we probably should have won. And I feel like tonight we might have won one that we probably should have lost. So just got to muscle up sometimes and take what's yours. And we're going to head back home on that champion air fight with our trophy like we should.
Redemption for you tonight, obviously, but the battle between you and the 18, you guys were racing each other hard the entire race. Do you think you guys kept it clean tonight?
On his terms, yeah, I'd like to say so. So, but I mean, at the end of the day, that's just good old short track racing, I guess. So, I can do that. It was fun. Had a lot of fun tonight. So, I want to thank JBL, Racing Radios, everybody at Venturini Motorsports for all they do, and I'm ready to go back on this Toyota, hop in my Supra, drive on home, and get back to TPC on Monday morning and get back to working.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Jess, hop in, drive out.
Jesse Love with his 4th win in a row. I should say 4th in the last 5. Sawalich was able to get him late last week, but boy, that lead grows. 40 points now over Frankie Muniz.
Yeah, Frankie had that tough luck there towards the end of the race, finished 16th, but Perez right now only 8 points behind Frankie Muniz. Great point battle for second on back. Jesse Love is dominating the series right now.
William Sawalich now is with Heather.
And a second place finish for our home track hero here at Elko. One spot too short, but you had a rough race tonight, so take us through everything that happened, because I know it was a lot.
Yeah, it definitely was a lot. I mean, I tried my best. I felt like it was almost 2 against 1, but I held my own. Didn't really feel like I raced too dirty, and I mean, they got me a couple times, which I felt like they would get me back from Berlin. I don't know why the 15 would get me back. It's not really his deal. It's between me and the 20. But either way, we had a really fast Sound Gear Camry, and I just tried my best there, and I can't thank everybody in Minnesota enough.
And William Sawalich bringing it home second in front of a hometown crowd.
Sawalich battled hard, got spun, fell back to 8th, ends up just short in 2nd place. Jesse Love back on the winning track. And he continues to grow his leading points. The ARCA Menards Series returns to FS1 Friday, July 7th from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, 6 Eastern. You don't want to miss it. Coming up next, Armed Forces Cup, a 36-hole match play tournament featuring members of the military. For the entire ARCA broadcast team, good night from Elko, where Jesse Love gets the win.